All right, this is about as tired and as dirty as you will see me. I just spent the day straightening out the passenger side door. We finally started putting down body filler. I used two different kinds of filler. I used a regular dent filler, and I used a skim filler, a super lightweight product that's made to level this out smooth as glass. Sanded it with the block sander. A lot of hard work, a lot of elbow grease. Took me all day to do it, but it's looking great. If you're interested in seeing how we got this done this weekend, stay tuned. Another rainy day. You'd think this was last weekend. All right, welcome back to Restoring Christine. My name is Bill. There's 56 Bel Air behind me. Her name is Christine, and this channel is Restoring Christine, the video blog where I'm documenting this build, frame-off restoration of a car that I've had for many years, and we're fond of her. And now we're finally out of all the metalworking to get all the rust repaired, and now we're going to do body filler. I've been threatening to do this for a long time, and it is finally here. Glad to start that, so let's get into it. All right, I'm over here on the passenger side of Christine. This is the passenger side door, and this is where I'm going to start. So it's been a little while since I've done any body filler, and by that I mean it's like, you get into a rhythm. So I mean, this is the first time cracking open a can of the filler, first time adding hardener, first time spreading it, first time sanding it. So it's not that I don't remember how to do it. It's just like the metalworking. You got to get started. You get all your things in order, and then you get into a routine. So I'm at the absolute starting point. So I decided to pick this passenger side door. I'm going to work on this. It gives me a defined surface that I can work with. So on this door, there's a couple of things I want to point out. This is the original door for Christine. This goes back. This is the original 1956 door that's been on her forever. So on the outside, I replaced a door skin, and I believe that is episode 21. And then I also built door gaps. So the door gaps on the edges, that was episode 51, I think. So in order to get all of these edges, tightened up and lined up, that was episode 51. And then I've got another one, I don't remember the number, but I'll put a link to it, where I've replaced the interior, the body of the door, the lower 6 inches or so. So I did that on both the driver's side and the passenger side. So I've got some episodes out there that'll show you how we repaired, if not this passenger side door, it's the driver's side door. Both of them had exactly the same issues. They both have new skin on the lower part. They both have new casings. I don't know what you would want to call it, interior body of the door, but that's been replaced. So now I'm going to get into body filler on this, and I can't wait. So let me show you what kind of filler material we're going to use. So I did a whole episode on all the fill materials and the sand materials and all the products that I'm going to be using to redo Christine, and that was very recently. It was just a couple of episodes back. And I explain everything that I'm using. So if you want to see it in great detail, that's where you can find it. But I'm using Roberlo products. I'm using Maxifill as a dent filler, and then I'm going to use Maxilight as a feathering filler. So we're going to hit everything with the Maxifill, get everything in plane more or less, and then we're going to hit it with the Maxilight, and we're going to take out any of the little minor little waves by blocking and decking the entire body. We're going to start by sanding the door first with a rough grit, and then I'm going to go ahead and mix up some Maxifill and spread a coat on it. Let's get after it. Growing up, my dad was a carpenter, and he's the one that taught me how to do body work. But my dad was a carpenter, and I used to go with him to the lumber yards, and there was nothing better than the smell of pine lumber, fresh cut, in a lumber yard, a true lumber yard, not a Home Depot, not a Lowe's. I'm talking about like a lumber yard. And then next to that, another fond memory I have is when I crack open body filler, and the smell. It's got a very strong chemical smell to it, but this is something that just brings back memories of my dad, man. And I just love the smell of body filler. Hate the work, but I love the smell of body filler. So here it is. There's this Roberlo, and I'm gonna puddle out a pretty nice sizable chunk of it on my board, my mixing board. And this mixing board goes back a little ways with me. This mixing board's also got some sentimental ties to it. It is this board I used to do the cutlass. So I've kept it. I still have it, and I plan on doing Christine with it. And it's kind of, you know, to me, it's a little bit of the soul of the project. So that's a pretty good chunk there. That's a lot. But I'm going to spread it quite a bit. Let's go ahead and get some hardener in it. I don't weigh and measure, but that ought to be plenty. I don't know how hot that's going to be, but that's probably plenty enough for what I'm doing. Go ahead and mix this up, and I'm going to, once I get it mixed really well, then we'll take it over to the door and we'll start spreading it. But you know, you'll eat this up with the depth of the dents, depending on how much they are. You know, you can go through a lot of this. So this 1 gallon, I'm expecting to maybe, despite the fact that Christine is relatively straight, I'm planning on going through a couple of gallons of filler, but I don't know how much it's going to be for one versus the other, whether it's going to be the material that I'm using right now, which is going to fill the dents more or less, and then I've got a fairing material. This lighter skimming material will end up being to use as a skim coat. I've got brand new knives. This came from Harbor Freight. You can look at Eastwood. Eastwood sells the same one for about twice the price. They're real inexpensive at Harbor Freight, but you want to make sure to get all your mud good and mixed up. I just hit the tripod, elbow. Get it good and mixed up. Let's go ahead and bring this over to the door and get this spread out. I have to be quick with it. I don't know how hot I just made it, but we will see. I'm still seeing a little bit of swirl in it from the bottom, so I want to make sure I get that. Get it all fully mixed, and let's bring this over to the door. All right, I apologize if this camera angle's not that good, because I got hot mud on the board and I don't want to lose it. So here we go. Slinging it everywhere. Man, it makes a mess. It just flies. It just flies when you're doing this. It drapes all over everything. It makes a huge mess. Spreading it right over my weld. Not too hot today. That's the other thing you got to take into consideration, is the weather. So I think it's in the 60s today. We got another cold front coming through, and so this mud, sometimes I work it and it's so hot that, you know, you mix your hardener in it and it starts to set real fast. Trying to get a curve in my knife, my spreader. Yeah, I don't know how this is looking in plane, but we'll get it. I don't have gloves on right now. I should. Some neoprene gloves or something maybe. I've got those. Nitrile, that's what I meant. Nitrile. Not neoprene, nitrile. I have them. I just don't have them here. That would probably be a good thing to have. I can feel a dent right there. I can feel it like waving. You know, you're working these long surfaces like this, and you really need a flat object to tell you where and what and how much. And that's how we're going to sand it. Long sanding board. So I knew on that weld I was going to have a whole lot of in and out and nastiness that I had to do. I had to fill in, so I put the first pass on that. But I did not put this on time lapse. I did it in real time. You can see what I'm doing. Some people say, some of the comments that I get in the thing is, I like to watch you work. No kidding. So here's the other thing, is like now towards the end, scrape down my board so that it's already clean for the next time. All right, it's been about 25 minutes and it's set really nicely. So what I'm going to do is I've got a piece of, this is 40 grit on a Dura block. So I've got a long block that's about 16 inches long. And I'm going to hit this just roughly to see where my plane is. So I'm just trying to work this part now, and then I'll end up bringing that out and expanding it once I figure out where I'm at. But this is my first cut. And you can see hitting a little bit of high here, low there. But for the most part, I'm hitting a lot of it. Got a little bit of a low here. But it's it's not bad. Not bad for the first pass. I knew when I was spreading it I had a low spot here. I could feel it. So it's hard to see. Well, I mean, it's just subtle, but it's long. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and block this, and then we'll come back and put another pass on it. But you get the idea. I'm above it, my head is north of it, so all the fill is falling down. I do have a respirator I will put on. So, but now as I'm filming, I just wanted to leave it off my face there so I could talk. So, watch me work. So one of the things I just remembered was that it takes so long, you're waiting so long for Bondo to cure, that if you really want to be productive, you got to work two areas at once. So I went and mixed up a little bit more after I made a second pass on the bottom. I mixed up a little bit more and then put it here and here, but I mixed up too much. So I came up and I sanded this little spot that I put a patch on the roof. The roof was rusted up here, so there's a patch that's underneath here, and I rebuilt the rain gutter here, so at this A-pillar. So I floated that, and I'm going to sand that after, but I've got a pass on the bottom that I can sand that down while this is curing, and then after I sand that, then I'll be able to sand all of this. So I also have a spot on a door that I patched that, and so I just wanted to tighten that up a little bit, even though that's underneath stainless steel. right, let's go over where I'm at. So that's after the second pass. And normally I think I might be a little quicker with this, you know, and getting after it, but I'm still trying to knock the rust off of my technique and how I'm doing things. So I've got a little bit of a low spot here. I need to bring that up, and it's not a lot. It's really not. And I got a little low spot over there that I need to bring that up. A little high spot here, I need a knock in. And then the two spots I did up here, I put it on so thin that it ended up with, it stayed low for the most part. This is getting close. But this is one of the things that you'll start to look for. Right here now, as I'm sanding this down, I'm into nothing but filler right here. And that is wafer thin right there. But that's what I'm looking for. So I need to keep doing that until I get everything to where I'm just sanding it and it all looks like this. On the top, I was able to start carving this out. I hit it with the 40, and I had a high spot up here. I dented it in, so now I'm waiting for the next pass of filler, and then I'll come in ahead and I'll skim this again. But I'm starting to carve out, you know, the shapes in here. This is where it gets fun. You start doing this detail work. Now again, this is all underneath stainless steel. I don't want to find myself putting stainless steel on and then realizing, oh look, that was exposed. So I'm going to work this entire corner. I'm going to work all this and make this all look tight. And my rain gutter is already starting to sand out nicely. On the top of the door also, that's working out well, but again, there's a stainless cap that goes over that. So let me go ahead and mix up another batch of filler, and we'll be one step closer. All right, so what do I look like? Do I look like Pigpen from Charlie Brown? You got to keep the dust off you. It builds up. So let me show you where I'm at. So this is the third pass, and you can see now I'm bringing it further and further up. I'm spreading it out more, and it's not very thick. I know I'm going through a lot of filler, but it's a big surface area. And let me just show you. You can see the thickness. It's very thin. It's not very thick. You know, so the dents that are in this door, they're not that bad, but it just, you know, you have to cover the entire surface area. It's not like a door ding that you just get to patch a little small spot. This is how you get all these surfaces to look like glass, how they just look straight. This is the start. You know, you got the foundation and you build this up, and then when I hit it with that next filler and it's going to skim everything, that's when it's going to really, like, you know, be just laser straight. So working on it, and like a fool, I accidentally touched some wet Bondo here. So, okay, it's coming along. I hope to tell you, that is exhausting. Holy cow. That is very tiring. I watched a video by Bad Chad in Canada, and one of the things that he said in one of his videos was, you know, just don't pick at it. Don't put a little bit of here, a little bit there, a little bit there, just float the whole thing. Well, I can't float the whole thing without over floating it, because I've got dents that have to be brought close to the surface, and once I get them close, then skim the whole thing. So it's a process, and we just have to stick to it. It's going to be months before I finish all this body filler, but this is what I've got to do. So I'm continuing on. So I think up to the point where I'm going to switch to this Maxilight. It's more of a cream color, where this other is yellow. Look how much I went through. I mean, look, that I went through most of, and let's not say a gallon. Let's be honest. Where does it say it? I saw it. It's like marked somewhere in a non spot. There we go. 0.8 of a U.S. gallon. Shrinkflation. But let's use this Maxilight. I'm going to go ahead and mix that up. And let's see what it does. All right, so that's with the Maxilight. I was able to skim it all the way from the stainless steel line down. It's this was a little looser. It was a little more soupy, so I can see why they say don't use that to build up anything, because that little bit of divot, and that was down only maybe a 1/16 of an inch maybe over here. It wasn't much, but I mean even that, it was like fighting to stay in the hole. It wanted to sag. So you know, this product has its limitations. I guess if it was horizontal, it would be great, but you know, I'm using the heavier bodied stuff that's harder to sand for the main work, and then the skimming work is going to be with this other stuff, this Maxilight, that should be easier to sand according to the box. This weather's ridiculous. I mean, it hadn't let up all day, but I'm in the garage, so let's keep on trucking. This is tiring. I mean, you gotta want this. You gotta really want this. It's just a lot of work. It's hard. It's not easy. It takes a lot of patience. I mean, hey, if you guys do this for a living, my hat's off to you, you know, but I mean, it's coming out beautiful. It is really laying down nice. You know, I'm using this block. Where'd it go? I'm using this 16-inch block. I think it's 16. It might be 18. I don't know what it is, but it's the same as a jitterbug. And I'm doing it by hand, which maybe I'm stupid. But I hit it with 40, got it all knocked down pretty close, and I just hit it with 80 and took a lot of that 40 grit hatching out of it. And I've got a little bit of, you know, a few flaws up here where I didn't finish blending it. And then I've got the edges of the door. I'm going to work that with the quarter panel. You know, so I need to play the edge a little bit. I've got a little bit on the bottom near the rocker panel here, tiny bit over there. You can start to see the yellow of the main body filler, and then this light blue of this fairing filler. But I mean, watch this. This, I mean, that is like, can you see it? That's it. I mean, if you can't see how that's coming along, this is what I was talking about, the door. I gotta work the edge. Don't be tempted as you're doing this. Don't be tempted to follow the contour and get a small one. It's like, oh, the spot won't sand, and I'm gonna sand it. Nope. You gotta have the full width of the block. And if you don't have the full width of the block, riding and taking that surface and riding that surface, you don't have the full width of the block, you need more fill. You don't need more sanding, you need more fill. So when you look at those cars at the show, the car show, and the light hits it and it's like straight as an arrow, laser straight, it's this hard work that makes that happen. So, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go make one last batch of filler. I'm going to do just the edges. I'm going to go ahead and play this edge of this door jamb, and the other end, the 2 spots on the above the rocker panel. I'm going to go do those. A little bit of a low spot in here, and then sand it one last time, and then call this one a wrap for at least today. So let me do that. All right, I mixed it a little hot. Which means I put a little more hardener in it than you normally put, just so it'll set really fast, because I'm running out of daylight and I want to get this thing sanded down and get this dialed in. But I am super pleased with the way it's coming out. All right, that's as far as I'm taking it today. It looks really good. It's coming out really nice. It still needs a little bit of work, but it's just, this is where it takes time. So I've got a little bit more work to do on the edge. You can see though it's starting to come out nice. And you can see my door gap. Door gap looks good. Okay, now down here at the rocker panel, this all is faring out nicely. I've still got one little teeny tiny low spot right there. Now just to show you how thin I'm building it, see if you can see that. Right there. I mean, you can see it is like wafer thin. It is, there's not a lot of fill on this. This has got a little bit more here, but that's just what you see there behind it is just that's stuck on the back side of the door, but the front, I don't know if it's coming out, but I mean, we're talking about millage. You know, it's not a lot. It is not a lot, but it's coming out really, really well. Now, you know, I'm tired. Somebody made a comment, you know, hey, you know, you could have bought a new door. And, you know, that's a valid point, you know, for what a door might cost. I don't know, used door or a new door even, I don't know. And you know, my philosophy though, is that Christine's got a soul. And these doors are the doors that were put on by GM in 1956. I believe this car was built in St. Louis, Missouri. And somebody in 1956 assembled this car when it was brand spanking new. And that's the door that's still on it. And that's the door that's got all the bumps and bruises and hickeys. And it's earned its right to be in this car. So I'm going to try to save it. I'm going to try to keep it. Both doors. Same with the trunk lid, same with the hood, same with the fenders. Everything I can try to salvage that I know is original, I'm going to keep. So, you know, that's just my philosophy. But let's wrap this up. One last look. It's coming along, man. All right, that's going to do it for another episode. Another weekend in the books. I might be back out here tomorrow night. I don't know. Or tomorrow. I'm punch drunk. I might be back at it tomorrow. If not tomorrow, definitely next weekend. We're going to continue with body filler. It's going to start trucking along now. So, tell you what, like I said, I've got a bunch of followers right now that are all building Tri-5s. I got one guy I think building a Ford, and it doesn't matter, man. If it's Detroit iron from the 1950s, 1960s, keep it on the road. Let's do it, you know. So, my goal here is to just be helpful, you know. I've got all of these videos that I'm doing documenting this build. You know, I index to other videos, and that's not to try to, you know, hey, watch my stuff. That's to be helpful to actually put a catalog together that somebody else can come behind me. And if you got the same issues, you'll be able to easily find a solution. And that's what I'm all about here, is trying to help other people. So if you're enjoying the videos, I'd appreciate you giving them a thumbs up. And if you're enjoying the channel, the subscription would be awesome. So until I see you next time, take care of yourself. Cheers.